Islam fam, this is Moreno Bey. I'm coming in a spirit of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I want to get my disclaimer out the way immediately. This information is not for Negroes, coloreds, or black people, or anyone that's in a wardship status, okay? If you're in a status of Silver Little More Twos, this video is not for you. This video is strictly for people that are Moorish nationals that understand the information I'm about to present, okay? So let me get that out the way. Let me start on what I need to start on. I got an email about a day and a half ago, and it was via my website, and it was from a woman very concerned about what's happened to her 2-year-old son. And I said, you know, after I read the email, it kind of had me, you know, kind of puzzled, you know. So I said, you know, I want to do a video to kind of help this sister. I've already kind of reached out to her and let her know what she could do. You know, got an idea of, you know, who she is and how she operates, etc. But furthermore, this video is going to be universal, so it's not strictly aimed towards her. Its actual information will be universal, so it can apply to any woman that's dealing with the information or the situation that she's been exposed to. So I'm going to get to the email. I'm going to keep her information confidential, but I will read the email just to let people know exactly what she emailed, how it responds, and why I'm making this video today, because it's very imperative, people. Like I always say, we must know law. We can't wait till something happen and then try to enforce law, you know, and then you'll be in a, you know, you'll be in stress mode. All right. Listen to this. The message says, "Greetings, I am," and she states her appellation or name. She says, "I live in," and she states her territory. "A month ago, my son got kidnapped by youth services, and they won't return him to me, even though there is no proof of neglect, and they prove he wasn't being neglected. Anyways, next court date is in January 31st. But 4 months is too much. He has already been gone for 33 days. I need help getting him back right away, please. I asked Cujo from the Canaanland Moors, and he referred me to you, Moreno Bey. Thank you in advance for whatever you can do to help me." Okay. So I say again, you know, I woke up early that morning to that email, and that was kind of, you know, that's, you know, no one wants to hear anything like that. But the first thing I will say to you, sister, is in order for them to do something like that, it's something out there that has your signature on it somewhere. You're in contract with somebody, whether you know it or not, whether it be the state, whether it be the corporate territory, municipality. You're in contract with someone. That's why they have the somewhat of authority to do what they did. Not saying it's right, but unknowingly you have a contract with these people, okay? So my advice is to study contract law. Look it up, just look up contract law, or you can go to a law library and study contract law so you can be better familiar with what makes contracts valid and what makes contracts invalid, okay? So my reply is this: "Peace. Sorry to hear that your child has been kidnapped. Question: are you a woman or a man? I'm assuming a woman, but I ask because there's certain things women can do in this matter that may be extremely hard for a man. Question 2: do you know anything about writs, affidavits? You will have to utilize writs to contact these people by way of certified mail. Lastly, after you email me with the answers and a little more detail, I'll put together a YouTube video describing what you can do, but I'll keep your info confidential. Peace and love, Moreno Bey." Okay. Now, I'll go into her reply, and once I go into the reply, I'll just kind of get into the rights of indigenous people and basically the human rights we have and how we should enforce certain things when things like this arise. She said, "Thank you so much for answering me. Yes, I am a woman. I am his mother. They took him in the first place because when the child services came, my house was dirty. Someone I knew called them and lied, saying I wasn't feeding my son right and that I was depressed and stuff like that. The other day was court day and the judge didn't find any neglect. But because I refused to consent to a blood test, she said I am not providing my son with proper physical care. They want to test him for anemia and hepatitis. Well, I don't feed my son meat or dairy product, and they say my son might be sick because of that. My son eats nature food provided by the Creator. The doctor said he was healthy, yet turns around and says he needs to do a test on him. Blood is sacred, and I will never let them have my son's blood. Also, yes, I am a little familiar with writs and affidavits, not a pro at writing them myself. Also, the judge ordered the blood test and it's 10 days, and I want to stop them from taking his blood and also bring my son home as soon as possible." Okay, like I said earlier to the sister, I told her, do whatever you have to do to get your son back, because in 33 days, there's no telling what they've done to this 2-year-old. I mean, just get him back. Do whatever you have to do. You don't even really have to do any of these writs or anything, but what I'm saying is, do what you have to do so you can get him home back to you and love him and cleanse him of whatever it is they may have given him, okay? Now, if that's not the case, you're gonna have to fight him, period. It's your seed, it's your child, it's your son. You know, no state has the right more than a mother to take care, teach, and whatever it is she does for her child or son or daughter, and that's period, okay? Now, I'm gonna get into the rights of indigenous people, because most people that classify themselves as Negro, Black, and colored, they have no idea that their nationality is Moor and what America has to do with Morocco. Okay, they have no idea. So I want to get into the rights of indigenous people and basically let them know that the United Nations has a charter, and I'm going to read from this charter. It was adopted June 25th, 1945, and ratified October 24th, 1945 at San Francisco. Now, these are the signatories. There were 51, well, there is 51 original member nations: Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Bolivia, Brazil, Belarus, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Czechoslovakia, Denmark, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, El Salvador, Ethiopia, France, Greece, Guatemala, Haiti, Honduras, India, Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, Liberia, Luxembourg, Mexico, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nicaragua, Norway, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Philippines, Poland, USSR, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Syria, Turkey, Ukraine, United Kingdom, United States, Uruguay, Venezuela, and Yugoslavia. The charter defines the international organization established at the end of World War II to replace the tragically ineffectual League of Nations. All right. Know people that if you're indigenous or aboriginal, this is what you must enforce. You should enforce it to like the High Commissioner of Human Rights in The Hague. It's places and people that have to be contacted in order to be heard, because everyone has a superior. If you don't know this, you got to know this, okay? That's how it works, all right? Rights of indigenous people. Now, pay close attention to this. I'm going to read down a few of the articles. It says, believing that this declaration is a further important step forward for the recognition, promoting and protection of the rights and freedoms of indigenous people, and in the development of relevant activities of the United Nations systems in these fields, solemnly proclaim the following United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. The first article: indigenous people have the right to the full and effective enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms recognized in the Charter of the United Nations. the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and international human rights law. Okay? Article 2, indigenous individuals and peoples are free and equal to all other individuals and people in dignity and rights, and have the right to be free from any kind of adverse discrimination, in particular that based on their indigenous origin or identity. Okay? Article 3, indigenous people have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Article 4, indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinct political, economic, social, and cultural characteristics, as well as their distinct political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state. Article 5, now listen to this one very carefully. Every indigenous individual has the right to a nationality. Why would they say this? Since all of these black Negroes and colored people, they always say nationality doesn't matter. Why would these people write this in this particular charter if it really didn't matter? All right. Now, Article 6, this one especially applies to the sister. Indigenous people have the collective right to live in freedom, peace, and security as distinct people, and to full guarantees against genocide or any other act of violence, including the removal of indigenous children from their families and communities under any pretext. In addition, they have the individual rights to life, physical and mental integrity, liberty, and security of a person. So, sister, in your situation, Article 6 must be enforced, okay, along with the writ that I told you about, which you can utilize. Article 6, because they removed your indigenous child from his natural state, his cultural state, okay? There's no telling what they're feeding the child, and trust me, 9 times out of 10, they may be feeding him meat and dairy products, okay? Europeans' digestive system is nothing like ours, any of that, okay? I'm gonna jump over to Article 24. Indigenous peoples have the right to their traditional medicines and health practices, including the right to the protection of vital medicinal plants, animals, and minerals. They also have the right to access without any discrimination to all medical institutions, health services, and medical care. Now again, the sister stated that her son and herself is on a plant-based lifestyle, okay? So Article 24 must be enforced. You don't ask them anything, you tell them. I tell people this all the time. You don't ask these people anything, you tell them what to do, okay? You tell them what to do and you report them to their superior, and you report that superior to his superior. So you gotta go to the top of the chain, all right? So look into the rights of indigenous people, sister. Article 32, I'm skipping over. Indigenous people have the collective right to determine their own citizenship in accordance with their customs and traditions. Indigenous citizenship does not impair the right of indigenous individuals to obtain citizenship of the states in which they live. Indigenous people have the right to determine the structures and to select the membership of their institutions in accordance with their own procedures. Okay, so sister, look into the rights of indigenous people and enforce that, okay? Furthermore, shortly I'll be getting into the writ I told you about, just kind of giving you an idea of what you can do. But you must be very conscious of what it's talking about. So you have to study. So I wouldn't advise just sending this stuff out without knowing exactly what it is and what it's saying. It wouldn't make sense to do that. So that's why I told you at the beginning of the video is to do what you have to do to get your son back. If that's submitting to a blood test to get your son back, then do that. Now, the reason I'm saying is because you never know what they may be doing to your son, okay? So waiting and writing writs, I mean, it takes time, okay? So let's use common sense, all right? Now, Article 1, Section 10 states of the American Constitution of 1791. It states no state. Now remember, state is dealing with state of mind, okay? It's not dealing with physical land. It's dealing with a state of mind, okay, of people that collectively think alike, okay? Article 1, Section 10 of the American Constitution of 1791 states, no state shall enter into any treaty, okay? They can't enter into a treaty, okay? They're private and they're foreign. They can't enter into our treaty, okay? No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Now, that's kind of getting off into something else, but the first part I wanted you to hear is because it's saying that no state shall enter into any treaty, okay? These people are foreign, they're private, and you must attack them with this information, okay? All right, now what I'll do is, oh yeah, furthermore, Article 6 is stating in the American Constitution of 1791 that Article 6 is the supreme law of the land, including the treaty. So that's why, as Moors, we enforce the treaty, which is a part of the 4 constitutions, okay? The treaty and the Constitution, okay? All right, now the writ, and again, I'm about to hit my disclaimer again. For all you black niggas out there that always like to talk shit, excuse my language for the children that may be watching this, or anyone that may be sensitive to profanity, I apologize. But I may use a little profanity every now and then just to get my point across to these niggas, okay? Because niggas, sometimes that's the only thing they understand. So sometimes that's the way you have to communicate to these black ass niggas, all right? Now, the writ that I was telling you about, sister, is via rvbaypublications.com. Now remember, before enforcing anything, you must know what it is. So study it, overstand it, understand it, live by the 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and live as your ancestors once lived, okay, in the spirit of that, all right? This particular writ is an affidavit of fact. An affidavit of fact is your truth on paper, okay? Because there's rules that governs how you communicate, okay? Most people don't know that. Black niggas don't know that, okay? But they know everything else there is to know about debating, okay? All right. It's a writ in the nature of discovery. What a writ is short for writing, okay? Once you think it, then you say it, and then you write it. It's sealed, okay? You have to look at it like that. Everything starts off with a thought first, okay? You think it. For example, if I wanted to build a house, I think in my head how to build the home, the blueprint. And then I speak it into existence. And then I write it out, whether that be drawing out the blueprint or writing out my plan or business plan, okay? All right, it's a writ in the nature of discovery. What that is it's a writing. It's sort of like a questionnaire. And it's basically a setup for these fraudulent foreign Europeans that operate in the Americas on our sacred soil, okay? A writ in the nature of discovery is a questionnaire that's asking them certain questions that they must provide the answers to. Okay, sister? It's a lawful warning and it's a notice. Again, there are rules that govern how you communicate, okay? And remember, it's somewhere down the line that you have a signature or you're in contract with someone, okay? Whether it be a driver's license, whether it be a birth certificate, social security card number, your name is somewhere on something and they have jurisdiction over those things. So they come and they actually do a process of what you call as cheating, you know. So when you abandon certain things, they feel like that they can, under feudal law, that they can claim it. All right. At the top, it says, what you'll do is you'll put the address to the representative at the family service, and it's an affidavit of fact, and it starts off, ministerial offices and agencies and agents for the agency, administrations and administrators and departments, namely, and then you place the name of the family court or agency, do not have the judicial power or authority to compel authority over the people. Okay, notice that it says they don't have the judicial power. Okay, unless there exists a contract between the party or parties at will of the party or parties, of which contract must be existing by free, prior, and informed consent. Now, earlier I stated that, sister, is somewhere you have a contract, but under contract law, if you sign something unknowingly, the contract is invalid, it's void, it's null and void. So that's what this is talking about right here. Okay, unless there exists a contract between the party or parties at will of the party or parties, of which contract must be existing by free, prior, and informed consent. Said contract must bear my signature, must not contain any adhesions, meaning anything that bind you to them, must not be done under threat, duress, and coercion, must be clear, concise, and specific, and must not be construed to deny any of my retained and reserved rights. Questions arise as to the type of administration, tribunal, and or court and officers, employees of same, and their or the lawful jurisdiction and delegation of authority. This is what everybody was trying their best to attack Brother Taj Tariq Bey and Mother Roz Mariah Bey about the delegation of authority. Now, you have to have delegated authority from Congress proving what you can and you cannot do, okay? Because Congress is putting out the laws, but the legitimate Congress has adjourned sine die in 1861, okay? So that means that without day, it means that they don't have another day assigned for a legitimate Congress meeting. So the legitimate Congress does not even exist. That's why we ask for the delegated authority, okay? Now, black niggas, they'll never know this because they just way too fucking dumb, okay? Excuse my language. All right. The administration court tribunal must be in possession of it and must produce it as proof in order for any to have validity of judgments prior or intended. Family administrations, family courts, tribunals, and services or agencies and agents of the agency are not granted judicial authority by the legislature. And that is very true. Very true. Substantive point of right, number one. Ministerial officers are incompetent to receive grants of judicial power from the legislature. Their acts in attempting to exercise such powers are necessarily nullities. Burns versus SUP, and it has the Supreme Court case number. Failure to produce said delegated authority is proof that the agency, court, tribunal, name, family court, or service is attempting to bring injury to the people, namely, and then you put their name, and deprive our liberties and commit human trafficking and genocide upon my family, okay? People, you got to know this, okay? You have to know this. If you ask for someone to produce certain information that they claim that you are obligated to, and they cannot produce it, it's over. So all of you black niggas can sit up here and try to argue about this don't work. No, it's not going to work for you because you a black nigga, okay? You're a black nigga that knows nothing, okay? That's why it doesn't work for you, okay? So get it right. Get it twisted. Stay in your lane, all right? All right. Know this too, sister, that that's an inferior court. It's a lower court. It's not a judicial. It has no judicial power whatsoever. It's not the Supreme Court. It's not the highest. All right. Now, these are some of the questions. Therefore, the following questions are placed before this administration, which, whatever the name of the place that kidnapped your son, seeking full disclosure of which must be lawfully responded to in kind, and all points of inquiry must be answered. Does a contract exist between you, sister, bearing your signature? That's the first question. Number two, if such contract does exist, produce it for the record. Let's prove it. Because remember, in order for an obligation to exist, a contract must exist. Number three, if such a contract exists, provide proof that said contract acts as a waiver of my right to privacy, okay? And to my right to be left alone, which is protected under the 4th Amendment of the American Constitution for the United States of America, wherein my rights are secured and protected from encroachment. All right, let's go to the 4th Amendment. These people think it's a joke, man. I've been enforcing this stuff for quite a while now, and I know how it goes. 4th Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Probable cause means the reason to believe a crime has been committed, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Now remember, it says particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized, okay? So they have to be very, very, very particular on that, okay? That's one reason why we operate as bays and not the European cogmen that we once operated with, okay? Because we know they have no contracts with that, and we're tied back to the noble titles of the land, Ali, Bey, Day, Al, and El, okay? So they must produce this information, people. Furthermore, sister, I would say do what you have to do first. You understand? Study. Do not enforce anything unless you are ready, and hopefully this video motivates you to do what you have to do as a mother, mentally, spiritually, and even physically, to get your son back, okay? One more thing. Okay, at the very end of it, it says particular people that you can carbon copy it to. You never send a writ. When you're ready to actually send off your affidavits and writs, you never send it, you know, just blindly, just to one person. You always send it to a conglomerate of people. And the reason is because notice to the agent is notice to the principal, notice to the principal is notice to the agent, meaning that you let them know because there's principles to communicate. Okay, so you want to send it to the head person with their name of whatever particular corporation or child services it is. Send to the name of the representative who came and got your child. You want to send it to the representative supervisor. You want to send it directly to the family service office where calls, letters, representatives are coming from. You want to send it to that governor of that particular state, okay? Because the governor is the CEO of that state. You want to send it to Interpol. You want to send it to the United Nations World Court. And again, all of these people, all of these places you send it to, make sure you have a person's name so they can know what's going on, okay? And I won't get into the bonds issue on this video because that's a whole different subject, but I will attack that on a future video. So peace and love. Hopefully you get your son back, and do not enforce until you know for a fact. But until then, get your son back. We love you. And we stand on those principles. All right? Peace and love. Moreno Bey.